Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tardis Zone. And this is the Tardis Zone Talks. I hope you are all doing very well. And before we get into all of the Doctor Who goody stuff, and trust me, there is a lot for us to digest today. Returns being announced and all of that. Again, we told you, don't be surprised if unit in all returns and the whole shebang returns. Again, the Tardis Zone proven once again that if you want legitimate source information, this is the only channel where you will get it. This is all stuff we spoke about. But before we get into all of that, I obviously want to talk a little bit about Alpha Omega. So his anniversary was last week. Unfortunately, myself, Lee, and Chris actually got sick, and I thought I had scheduled the video, and I had this video actually prepared early December. And then it was only after it was put up I realized that I spelled his second name wrong because someone in the comment section had to point it out. I know, but it was after the fact, and the video was thrown up, so it was too late. Now I have rectified it. I have I've done another video. It's the exact same video, but I've re-edited it properly, and I've tried to pull it up on his memorial page. Now I can't seem to watch it on my mobile phone, so if anybody can tell me if they go into his memorial page, if the video is there that I posted, because Lee was saying, why don't you post it up on his memorial page? So I did try and do that, so hopefully it's up there. But just to say, obviously with everything that happened last week, we never got to mark his anniversary properly. So during the week, I will get a few guests on, and we will do a stream dedicated to Alpha, because it's the least we can do. He was a big part of this community. A lot of people liked him, including myself. And we were quite devastated when he passed away. So it wasn't the way we wanted to mark his first anniversary, but unfortunately, we couldn't help getting sick. I got sick. Chris had lost his voice, and as you know, Lee himself was burnt out because he's been working a lot behind the scenes doing intros and trailers for other people for streams that they're doing. So he's really stretched himself. So we forgot to mark it properly. So as I said, we still got that video up, but we want to do a stream and just talk about all the good times we have. So we will organize that, and we will actually mark it properly. I am a bit annoyed at myself, I have to be honest, because I was on the ball. I did get the video prepared. I didn't even realize that I'd spelled his second name wrong. I was just under so much stress when I was doing it, because I was doing other stuff at the same time. Those two candles that I put in it, like, I had to edit that video together. Those two candles that you see on that memorial is not a thing that you can get. I had to edit that together to do that. I wanted to put the two candles beside what I was writing, and I think it worked out all right. But in me haste to get it done, and with all the other stuff that I was doing, I just didn't realize. So I have rectified it. I have put it up on the memorial page. Hopefully it's up there now. If not, someone let me know, and I'll get someone else to put it up for me. Because we wanted to do something for him, and I don't want anybody thinking that we've forgotten him on this channel. We'll never forget Alpha. He was a huge part of this community. He was a friend. It was someone that, me and Alpha always got stuck in on their streams live, as you know. But behind the scenes, after we finished, we'd forget about what happened in the stream, and we'd just talk and we'd have a laugh. And that's the type of guy that he was. And, as I said, he'll never be forgotten. He won't be, because he was a huge part of this community. Very good friend. And especially to me, You know, he supported me financially as well with the super chats, as you all know, before anybody else was doing it. Alpha, as soon as I became, as soon as I was able to be monetized, he was one of the first people to give a super chat. I think Garbage was their first ever super chat, but Alpha was up there as well as one of the people that threw up those early super chats and always supported us any way he could, whether it was financially, whether it was coming on streams or just watching and supporting me. He was, look, he was a good one. I don't want to bang on too much about this, but and I don't want to bring everybody down because we're here to talk about Doctor Who, but I felt it was appropriate that I said something at the start of this stream because I want people to understand and realize that he did mean a lot to us. We just, you know, unforeseen circumstances and things got in the way, and that kind of annoys me. I got a little bit upset about it, to be quite honest with you. I'm not gonna lie. But you know, there's no point in myself getting worked up over it. It's done. We will mark the occasion. We will have a stream, and we'll bring on all these good friends that joined us for panels and stuff and interacted with them. And if you just want to come on and talk about your favorite memories, then please do. Right. Anyway, let's get on to the main part of the stream, which is Doctor Who. Now, before I put these videos and images up on the screen, I just want to make clear that the people that I've decided to use for the purposes of this stream are the people that have posted up these videos and photographs. Now, they may have originally been posted up by someone else, but these guys decided to post them on their own accounts. But I am letting everybody know that the accounts that I'm sharing them from are Star Whovian and the Thing King. So I want to make that clear because you'll always, it's actually funny, the other side, right, show all of these videos and all of these same photographs and nobody bats an eyelid. The Tardis does it, and then it's all of a sudden, oh, Noel's stealing someone's photographs and videos. So let me make it clear: the people that posted it, that I seen that posted these, were Star Whovian and the Thing King, and they're the images and the videos that I'm sharing. Okay, so I want to make that clear before we start. So these are all on Twitter. So if you're not on Twitter and you haven't been on social media, a plethora of photographs and videos have been released. I think these are all fan photographs and videos. I'm not quite sure. Do you know, I wouldn't normally do this, but I'm just going to put this up for everybody to see because I want everybody to see how deprived this little troll is. Now, right, listen, I don't know who you are. I don't know if that is Andrew Jones. I actually don't care, right? The fact that you're that sick that you'd come in and post something like that is absolutely disgusting. I don't care whether you agree with John the White or not. I haven't always agreed with him. But when someone is terminally ill, you know, that's not the time, like someone on Twitter tried the other day. Someone tried to get a pylon started on John the White, and then that person was called out and then proceeded to block us all. Now, this seems to be acceptable in some parts of this fandom because they don't like the fact that John had different opinions to other people. But I have to say, I am sad for society out there that a man that's dying because of a failed healthcare system is now being targeted because of stuff that he said in the past or the opinions and beliefs that he held. Everybody is entitled to their opinions and beliefs. And you may construe John the White's opinions as right wing and misogynistic and bigoted. I've gotten to know the man over these last few years, and as I said, I haven't always agreed with his opinions, but I can tell you that he's one of the most sincere guys that I've met. He's a hard-working guy, and he believes in the truth being told about certain things out there, and he isn't afraid to put his neck on the line. How bloody dare you? How dare you and everybody else out there that thinks it's all right to go after a sick, dying man? You are really all a bunch of pathetic little losers, and you need to leave it out. This won't be forgotten. We'll find out who's behind that nasty little tweet or that nasty little message. And I tell you something, Mr. Jones, if it is actually you, I am going to do something about having you removed permanently from this channel because you're a channel member, because that's how much of a troll you are. I will be getting in touch with YouTube. You are absolutely vile. Now, do you know what, actually? I'm going to take a screenshot of that and I'm going to post it up on Twitter for everybody to see. Because you are a vile, disgusting little scumbag, whoever you are, right? And everybody is going to see this now. Anyway, I know it's not surprising at all. It's not surprising, but here, let's get into it anyway. I have that screenshot anyway, so you could if it's already deleted. Please remember, mods, that if you get anybody in there, don't only remove their comment or delete their comment. Also, hide the user from the channel, please. Hide the user from the channel. Yes. Don't want any nasty little pieces of crap like that in here. Anyway, let's get into this. We'll start off. Now, this is going to kind of be all over the place because it's the way it's posted on this chat. As I said, all of these, as I said, are from. Oh, for God's sake. Sorry, that's just had to throw me a little bit there, man. What a sick, vile individual. I just, it's absolutely disgusting, man. I just, this fandom just keeps, it just dips so low. Nobody has, that's someone obviously probably pretending to be him. But if that is him, so right, so here is the first photograph. Right. So here is the first photograph. So that looks like Millie Gibson there. She seems to be outside some sort of shopping district. There's also a rumor that there's some sort of big car chase going on, or unit police chase or something. I'll try to make this as big as I can. Some of the photos, unfortunately, are very obviously, if you're watching it big on YouTube, you'll probably be able to see it a little bit better. So that's the first photograph that we have. As I says, we'll keep throwing up the photographs. And again, this is obviously where they're filming, and this is another photograph at the same location, but as you can see, Kate Stewart has returned. Now, I don't know if that's her talking to Sylvia there. I think that might be her talking to Sylvia there. So there seems to be a bit of a conversation going on, and the recruitment call that is. So I don't know if that's an actual made up place, or um, if that's an actual real location. So yeah, Daniel just said it there. I just popped in to have a look at the chat as well. It does look interesting, I have to say. There's more photographs, don't worry. Again, here's another one. And again, this must be before they actually sit down properly talk. So this is probably the photograph before the one that I showed you. As I said, they might be a little bit out of order. So this is them with their Sylvia still has her coat on. It looks like in this shot here. So there's it's either that definitely has to be Sylvia. I don't think that's Millie Gibson's character, but she has her jacket on there, so maybe she's just sitting down there, or maybe just because there is a camera in front of them there, so I think there's actual filming going on there. So there's a scene there with Sylvia and Kate Stewart in this. Now, people are asking if she's in the... See, actually, yeah, I've just noticed something now. See, everybody is saying that this is for Series 14. Now, may well be, but is that Millie or is that Sylvia? I don't know. That looks like Sylvia's hair. That's why I'm saying Sylvia, but that could be Millie. And, of course, the new actor who was announced, who was actually Lee's choice for the Doctor. It's actually funny, isn't it? Lee's choice is actually in... Yeah, people are saying Millie. It could be Joe Grant though. Yeah, it just looks like an old woman's hairstyle. That's why I'm saying Sylvia. So he was obviously announced yesterday with Kate Stewart's character returning also, and this guy is going to play a mysterious character. So they haven't come out and confirmed what character he's playing. Of course, people will speculate all over the place. Some will speculate the Master. Some are already saying that Celestial Toymaker could be the Master. I mean, we don't know. He could just be a politician, a shady politician that has secrets, alien secrets. So, yeah, he was announced yesterday. There's another photograph of him. These are obviously... I don't know who's taking these photographs. I don't know who was taking these photographs. But, yeah. Some of these... So there's another photograph of him from behind there. So he's walking into a building. It looks like there. The streets look pretty empty at the back, actually. Notice that. If you're wondering why I'm doing it the way I'm doing it, it's because obviously they're shared in a private chat that I have with some of the people that I actually talk to off stream. So that's why I'm obviously... it is, yeah, I think it is Millie Gibson. It is Millie Gibson. I can actually see the side of her face there. I don't think that is that... I don't know now. Here, you have a get. I don't know. What do you think, guys? I don't know. It doesn't look. I don't know. It's because it's such a far away angle. So another interesting photograph there. Um, we've got to look at the new unit. It looks like the new unit uniforms. Um, I personally, I'm not sure about these uniforms myself. They just look a little bit too skater boy, fucking with the pads on. See, you've got the old shoulder pads and the elbow pads, but there's a look at the uniform right there, and it looks like Una has been jazzed up. Now, I have noticed, and I just want to say this: I have noticed that there's a lot of fans out there. Um, a lot of fans out there that are complaining that Unit is back. Now, especially all the big mouths in the fandom. And when I talk about the big mouths, I'm talking about the other side of the fandom have been bitching and moaning since RTD has come back. They're moaning about Unit coming back. Now, apparently, if the rumor is true, the Doctor is going to be stuck on Earth for this series, which would be a bit like Pertwee's Doctor, which means Unit would probably feature quite heavily. So now the next couple of photographs that I'm about to share to you are from Star Whovian's account, and I'll go straight into their account there. There's, as I said, I'm going to give credit to the people that actually put them up, and they say who they got the photographs off. So that actually does me good there. So that's actually great. So we have more photographs, and we will start with these ones here. So everybody is asking about new or old villains. So let me introduce you to a new villain, or is it an old villain? That's coming to Doctor Who there. And as you can see there, now we got some sort of slug looking creature, and it seems to be sucking the heads off the humans there, as you can see. So there's the first look at the first alien. We'll go to the next photo there. Hopefully, it'll just let me pan across to the next photo, which will be great. So I don't have to keep going into them individually. Of course, that won't happen because like why would Anton work well for me on this bloody thing? Right. Anyway, so we'll have to stop sharing. Oh no, it's froze. Oh, there we go. Yeah, cars of froze. Right. Cars of froze. Right. Let's see if you can see this one. So we've got another photograph there. The slug is walking away. We got someone on the ground there. And we've got, I don't know who that is there, but I don't think that's Millie Gibson. But let's see. Will it let me do the next one? Come on. Just yay. So there we go. There it is. Sucking some person who looks like they're in their pajamas or something. Well, that's typical today, isn't it? People go around. Oh, oh, is that the actress Rose Ailing Ellis? Is that Rose Ailing Ellis? Or is that her stunt double? I don't know. Millie Gibson's stunt double, maybe? But that looks a bit like Rose Ailing Ellis. Right, so that's the first set of photographs. So that's the aliens. So I don't know what you think of them, folks. I don't know if you are a fan of them. So here's More photographs from Starhuvian. Again, as I said. So we've got a rather disheveled looking, is that Kate Stewart or maybe Sylvia? Again, it's the hairdo there that's kind of, oh, it's Kate Stewart. So we got Kate Stewart there. And there's a photograph shared by him from Nerd Gasm. So I better, well, it's there anyway on the photograph. So Starhuvian shared one from a guy called Nerdgasm. There she is. Is that her? And there's the photographs that we'd already seen there. So that's the first lot from there. Interesting, I have to say, so far, is what I'd say. It does feel like an RTD era Doctor Who. I don't know if you guys agree, but if it does feel very, very RTD. Now, here we go. Apparently, this is more unit stuff. So let's have a look at their vehicles. So we've got unit vehicles here and army vehicles here. Right, just give us a second for a minute, will you? Because obviously I have to do it myself. Just give me a second. I just need to go into my chat for a second there. I don't know why that person is still allowed to post. There we go. Right, done. Guys, if you see people in with weird feckin' name of channels like that, could you please go in and check that channel, see when they set the channel up, yeah? Because you'll see that most of them have been actually only set up, or they've only got one subscriber and haven't posted any videos. I don't want anybody in here, right, with accounts like that, because we know it's a troll, okay? They never use photographs. So there you go. There's the unit and army jeeps there. There's more photographs there, and again, Starhuvian tells you it's via someone on Facebook there, and there you go again. I have to say, I do like the unit jeeps. I'm not gonna lie, I actually like the design of them. I really do. And there is another photograph of the unit uniforms, which I have to be honest, I'm not really a fan. I'll have to see them in action, but I'm not really a fan of the design. I don't know. Is that the way modern army people dress now? I don't know. And there you go. There's Millie Gibson. She's obviously either on a break there because she has a blanket on her there. I think they're all having a bit of a break. But in the background there, you can actually see that there are some screens and there is a body bag, or there's someone in a wheelchair there in a body bag. Or it's a gurney and they're in a body bag and they're dead. So there are the photographs. Let's see if there's any more new photographs just before we get into the couple of bits of video footage. We've already kind of seen those photographs. We haven't seen these two though. Let me see. No, we haven't seen these two. So there are another couple of photographs here. Yeah, they look like, yeah, someone mentioned just the French there. Yeah, it does look like the way the French police dress. So there you go. So apparently there's a speed chase featuring Una and Millie Gibson. Also, is that Graham Harper on the last photograph, far left. And there is that photograph, and then we will show this photograph here. So they seem to be some sort of shady people there doing shady stuff. And the other two photographs are the ones of the slug that I already showed you. So we don't need to show them again. So I think that's all the photographs that I can share. Let me see. I just want to make sure. Yes, so now we're on to the two pieces of video footage. And sorry, if me chat just stopped pausing, it'd be great. So we got two pieces of video footage. Again, this was put in me Tardis own group chat. By the Ting King. And they come from Doctor Who filming locations, which is a Twitter handle there. So what I'll do is before we start the video, I will pause it. We will go back. We will then screen share. These videos are not very long, folks. And we'll hopefully big screen it there. Right. Just let's see if everybody can see that. You can. Right, let's play this footage. She's getting into a... There you go. So she's running into a Land Rover there. She's getting into the Land Rover, and then obviously in that scene she's going to be flying off there. So that's the first bit of video footage. Not long, but it's nice to see her back. I know some people have a problem with her character and stuff, and that she's related to the brig and stuff like that. But if RTD can do her justice, you know, and make her a bit like her dad with that attitude, then if someone said that as well, and I actually agree, you know, give her a bit more of the Brigadier's personality, and she'll be a lot better, to be quite honest with you. So we've got one more bit of video footage, if I can get me feckin' hands on it. There we go. And this one, again, is not too long. Actually, it's 15 seconds long. Do you know what? It'd be probably better off sharing it that way because it'd be easier. Because nobody could see the private conversations. It's just where people posted no, it won't work that way. Okay. Jesus Christ. Okay, so I have to actually go into the second thing. Okay. You have to be awkward, don't you? Right. Let's do this. Yeah, I like Land Rovers. Yeah. Right. So here we go. The last bit of footage is 14 seconds long. Everything is glitching and we will play this now. So there's the Jeep driving off there, and there's people. Oh, look at these people. Ooh. It's gonna be epic, man. It's gonna be epic. I'm telling you. So there you go. That is all of the stuff There's other photographs as well from different angles of the same photographs that I showed you. If I was to post every single one, we'd be here all day. What I'll do is if any more, obviously the people in me chat have been throwing at this. So if we get any more, we will show you because I know you guys will be all excited to see. I have to say now, so far all we've seen is footage and filming with Kate Stewart and other characters. We haven't seen any footage of Shooty yet, or I don't know if there is actual footage of Millie Gibson, but I haven't seen any of that yet. If there is, please let me know. But so far, I'm telling you, look, guys, right? We've been sitting here for a long time waiting for our show to resemble something like Doctor Who again, right? What it looks to me that RTD is not going to hold back, and he's going to pull out all the stops for this. I'm not sure what I think about the creature, to be quite honest, but we've got to remember that's filming, right? It'll be completely different when it's on screen, obviously. But it will be interesting. I have to be honest, the villains in RTD's era are gonna be actually very interesting. What he does this time round. And I hope we have a few old returning villains, not necessarily the Daleks or the Cybermen or anything like that, but maybe some characters like Zootek and some other classic villains returning. If the Celestial Timemaker is in fact returning and Neil Patrick Harris is playing, well, that's already one checked off the box. But let's bring more back, man. Connect this. And I think that's what will happen, folks, because if you think about it, right, this is kind of like a relaunch of the show again, right? So there's nothing more that RTD, there's nothing better than RTD could do is to have this era of Doctor Who somehow pay homage and respect the classic era like all Doctor Who's supposed to do anyway. But we haven't had that for a very long time. Even under Moffat, Moffat did things, we give Moffat a free pass because he never really crossed the line. But he did push the envelope a few times as well. Remember that. And we mustn't forget that either. We just want people to just respect it. Classic Who, people will say, has its problems because of race and all of this other nonsense that they come out with. Ignore all of that shit. Doctor Who, at the time when it was made, they made do with what they had back then. It's as simple as that. Context is everything when you're actually reviewing some of these problematic episodes according to the other side of the fandom. Remember, you've got to think of context. There's one particular story, as you know, that fans have a problem with, and it's always the same episode, the same story, and they don't get the context of the situation. Back in the 60s, there wasn't many Asian actors working in the UK. So, yes, they did get white people and, they did paint their faces. But you think Doctor Who was the only show to do it. As I said, though, context is everything here, right? It's different now. Right, you wouldn't do that now when you've got Asian actors all over the place and some great ones, right? It was a different story back in the 60s, right? Bruce Lee was probably one of the biggest Asian actors out there at that time. There wasn't many. He was the biggest. I hope we can get a unit spin-off. Listen, there's going to be spin-offs galore, but My problem is that the main show. But looking at that footage now, I have to say I'm far more confident. I'm far more confident. Look, if RTD can churn out exciting episode after exciting, a fun episode after fun episode, and episodes that are story driven, right? Again, we've got the same old argument from people in the fandom saying when they're defending the Chibnall era, well, everybody says that the Chibnall era was political, but then they give examples of classic Who episodes that in their eyes were political, or that maybe were sending a message out there. But again, context is everything here. And the context is that the story was put first and the message was interwoven within the story, but it didn't take over the story or the characters, and the characters weren't agenda driven. That's what happened in the Chris Chibnall era. Story became secondary and the message became the number one focus, and every actor and actress on that show then that came on was a propaganda chess piece, that something came out of their mouth, it was something political or some sort of agenda. That's the difference. That's the difference between the classic era and the Chibnall era, right? When the classic era actually did tackle these kind of issues, as I said, it was interwoven within the story and it wasn't the main focus. So if RTD churns out week after week, just like he did in 2005, some fun, some serious episodes, some space adventures episodes, then he'll win me over. All I want is for RTD, for me to turn on me telly on a Saturday night again and to be entertained for that hour or whatever, how long each episode's going to be on for, right? I don't want to tune in to be told as a white man I'm a horrible person, or as a single father I'm a horrible person, or because I'm not looking after the climate, right? Or we're all dregs. Remember the dregs in the RTD era? What was it, Orphan 55? They were called dregs. He was talking about us. We're the dregs, folks. Open your eyes, right? He was so on the nose and so on the point with his era. He didn't even hide the fact that he was calling us dregs and all of this, right? Because there was no subtlety about the RTD era, and there's still people defend. Listen, you can defend all you want, right? Bottom line is this: it failed. RTD wouldn't be back if it was a success. Trust me, RTD would not be back right now in charge of Doctor Who if Chris Chibnall was successful, right? Because if Chris Chibnall was successful, he wouldn't have even left, right? He would have stayed on. Maybe Jodie would have left, but he would have recast the role and continued, right? But they didn't want to continue with Chris Chibnall because he failed, right? He didn't leave because Jodie was leaving. He left because he was pushed out the door. They didn't even tell him that they hired RTD back. He even says it in an interview himself. He never knew. He didn't even know if the show was coming back, and then we have all these morons in the fandom telling us, oh, Doctor Who, Jodie Whittaker's era was a success. It was. The ratings don't mean anything. No, she was great. She's the bestest ever. But look, looking at those images, looking at that video footage, and there's going to be plenty more over the next couple of weeks. And I look forward to every single bit of it that comes out. I hope there are no huge spoilers, though, that are released, because we have had a few. And you know what? If I think you will all agree with me right now that we've been spoiled rotten. Now, maybe it's because we got nothing. Okay, Jodie Whittaker's first season, she was splashed over everything, and she was everywhere, right? But then after that, it was nothing, right? We got no promotion, no nothing. I think everybody will agree that we've been spoiled rotten right now with all of these announcements, all of these video footage, the photographs from fans. We have been spoiled rotten. Even Christmas Day, RTD did not forget about Doctor Who fans because he knows how much Doctor Who and Christmas mean, what it means to fans. And even though we didn't get a Doctor Who episode, he decided to drop that teaser on Christmas night for us all, right? He was thinking of us there. And if anybody doesn't believe that, seriously, man, that's exactly what he was thinking, right? He knows that there's a connection between us Doctor Who fans and Christmas Day. Christmas Day to us is not Christmas Day unless there's Doctor Who on the TV. And for the first time in 5 bloody years, even though it was only a teaser trailer and it didn't even go on for more than, 45 seconds, we got Doctor Who at Christmas. And I don't think people out there and all these naysayers actually believe how much of an impact that actually had on the fandom. Right? That was a nice little, exactly, Peter. That was a nice present for fans, and that will be appreciated. Everything that RTD does is meticulous, right? Everything that he puts out there is planned, right? He knows exactly what he's doing. I told you, this would be the most promoted era of Doctor Who, right? We're getting spoiled right now. I just wish he hadn't made the comments he made at the start when he came back. Because I believe if he didn't make these comments, a lot of the people that are saying that they're still not willing to give it a chance, I think they would. I think they would be swayed. And I think there are some out there, and I'm going to say it out straight because I've always been out straight. I know there are some out there that are secretly loving what's happening right now, but they're afraid to come out and say it because they've held one position for so long that if they come out now, people might think, as I was called, a sellout, right? And I think there are people out there that are genuinely getting some sort of spark off this, but are afraid to say it because there might be some other people that they bring on their channel that take over the channel and basically, they just agree with that person, right? I'm seeing a lot of it going on other YouTube channels out there. And you can tell the ones that secretly are, like, because you can see it in their faces. Never let anybody dissuade. It never let anybody change your opinion on something. I have even said, if there are people that are genuinely not looking forward to this, fair enough, right? But I'm not going to try change your mind. All I will say to you is this: can we just wait and see what he does first, right? And then if he's are justified, fair enough, patches ourselves on the back and have us a circle jerk, because why you would want Doctor Who to fail is beyond me, because you're supposed to be Doctor Who fans. I've never got that thinking. There was a time where I wanted the show to boycott and I wanted the show to fail, right? Because what was happening to it. But now we've got a chance to get the show back. We've got a chance to make Doctor Who just as popular as it was when it came back in 2005, and to win new people over to love the show that we love, and actual people that will respect the show, respect its canon for what it is, and understand that the fans in this fandom and the fans that love this show are very protective of it, and their opinions must be respected just as their opinions must be respected. This is the thing. The other side talk about respecting other people's opinions. Well, it's hard to respect your opinions when you're calling us the bad Germans, when you're calling us sexist and bigots and racists and homophobes and white supremacists and every other name you can think of. Why should we respect you? Everybody just needs to see and trust the process. Simple as that. And you know, we'll see what happens. We you know, uh, we're in January now, and January seems to be flying in. We're already on the 10th day of the first month, so it's, you know, it's gonna fly. It's gonna drag then when we get to the summer, because everything does drag when we get to the summer. But it's gonna fly from now to the summer. Then it'll drag because all the kids will be off school and all of this other stuff, and you know, it'll drag for ages. And then as soon as the summer's over, then it'll start picking up again, fever pitch. And then before we know it, Doctor Who will be back on TV again. See you later, Leland. Thanks for popping in. But yeah, look, as I said, that teaser kind of was for me was the point where I said, yeah, that's it. Any worries I have completely evaporated. Um, Again, I think it's been reinforced after I've seen these photographs and a little bit of footage that we have seen. I think Doctor Who is in safe hands. And I do believe he will do right by the show, because he did in 2005. There's no way he's going to go against everything he believes how Doctor Who should be written and then all of a sudden change all of that because of what Chris Chibnall done. I mean, even that to me sounds a bit stupid. RTD has his principles, you know, and if he respects Doctor Who like he says he does, and in all the interviews that he's done that I believe him in, well, then he'll do the same thing. He will respect the franchise and give us a show that we can all get behind. And I mean, truly, us all get behind. None of this inclusion for all, but not included if you don't have rainbow flags on your profile, or you don't support Black Lives Matter or climate change and any of that bleeding nonsense, right? Bottom line is, right, you don't need any of that shit on your profile anyway. If you support those things, support them. You know, the thing about it is everybody has to shout out loud, "Oh, I support you! Look, I'm a supporter." Like, just go and do it anyway. You don't need to tell anybody. You don't need to fucking let everybody know what you support and what you want. But this is the problem. You know, when we try to argue our points about the last era gone by, you know, they told us that, well, if you don't like it, leave. Where's the inclusion there? Where was the respect for other people's opinions? There was none. Yeah, you don't see us going after you guys, right? Even though you are constantly attacking RTD, David. And yes, I've highlighted some of the more disgusting issues where people have actually sent threats to David Tennant and said some vile and disgusting things aimed at RTD. But the rest of the nonsense, you know, people giving out about certain characters coming back, and you know, I don't care. You know, I said to someone as well, you know, people still call people not my doctors. Let them. If you're not, here's the thing. Can I just say something actually to people out there that do get offended by the not my doctor thing, right? Because I used to get offended myself. I'm not going to lie, right? But you know what? I copped on and I kind of thought to myself, well, why am I getting offended over 3 letters, right? I know I'm not my doctor, right? I have watched this show consistently since the 80s, right? Obviously it went off air, and then when it came back in 2005, I picked up where I left off. I've been supporting the show ever since, right? All the way up until Jodie Whittaker's era. I watched the whole era, by the way. This is the funny thing, right? I get criticised. I watched the whole era because I'm a Doctor Who fan. I mightn't have liked it, but I still fucking watched it. People say, I don't understand if you don't like her and why are you watching it. Because I love the brand. I love Doctor Who. And you support, and by the way, and this is why I have a problem with certain YouTubers out there that left, right? Because they got attacked when Jodie Whittaker was cast, and they gave some opinions that section of this fandom didn't like, and then they ran off for 5 years. As soon as Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall pack up, they're back again. Now they're dictating to the fandom how they should think, and telling John Barrowman that he should apologise. Like, who do you think you are? Right? And this whole thing with the skinny man, right? I'm just gonna tell all you people out there that are outraged by that, right? You aren't Doctor Who fans, right? You're not Doctor Who fans, right? And you can make the argument, because I saw a video where you're making the argument, because some people have went back and said to you as well, Donna knew the Doctor and the skinny man is from the Runaway Bride, so it's not an actual insult. But then news came back then with the counterpoint, which was, well, our memories is wiped, so she doesn't actually know the Doctor, so therefore she's actually insulting the Doctor by calling him skinny man. Yeah, in the very same trailer, we heard Donna Noble say that she knows that part of her life is missing, and she has these mad dreams and stuff of her past that she knows that's missing. Now, again, you have shown that you aren't fans, because in the I just recently watched the End of Time Part 1 and 2. Even in that episode, she starts to remember David Tennant's Doctor, and what happens, he put a block in there to protect her, right? So she was started, so don't be giving me this bull crap. You're dragging that up because you want to be outraged about something, because you can't complain anymore about RTD legitimately, and you can't complain about David Tennant, because before David Tennant came on board, all you little muppets, right, were voting David Tennant in the best Doctor polls along with Jodie Whittaker, right? So don't all of a sudden pretend that you hate David Tennant. You just don't even know who David Tennant is, right? You only know that of David Tennant because you knew he's played it, but you've never watched his era, because a lot of you have proven that you haven't watched his era of Doctor Who. So you can take his fake outrage and you can shove it down where the sun don't shine, because you know what? You don't have a legitimate argument. You never will have a legitimate argument. David Tennant is the 14th Doctor. And all of these people that are trying to get people to stop calling him the 14th Doctor, you will fail. He is the 14th Doctor, whether you like it or not, and shoot, he is the 15th Doctor. Now, if you have a problem with that, I will give you the same advice that you gave us all those years ago. If you don't like it, don't let the door hit you on the way out. Bye-bye. Right? As I said, these are all more than welcome to complain and to moan. The problem that I have is that when people were complaining and moaning 5 years ago, yous wouldn't accept it. But now everybody must accept the fact that yous are all fake outraged, and we all have to stop everything to listen to you guys. The former production team and the former regime listened to you guys, right? And some of this fandom ran off because they couldn't handle the way you were treating people. But I stuck around. I wasn't a coward, right? The rest that went were cowards, right? Because now they're coming back dictating to the fandom. How dare they, right? They didn't stick with the show during its bad times, but now it's back because they think it's going to be great again. And they're sliding back in thinking they could tell people what to do. Well, not on my watch. Don't care how big of a channel you are. Remember, I always punch up. But anyway, don't care how much of a big channel you are. You're not going to be dictating to this fandom. Nobody is going to be dictating to this fandom anymore. We've had 5 odd years of it. Well, we don't want any more of it. And we want to move on with this show. And hopefully it becomes everything that we envision. And then, you know what? Remember, as soon as if this show does hit all the right notes, see all of those little fake outraged people, they'll soon disappear and they'll move on to something else, folks. They'll move on to something else like the Locusts do. they'll move on to something else and they'll ruin something else. Or they'll wait for RTD to do a spin-off show, and then they will demand that some characters are trans and some are lesbian, and some are gay, because without even any thought process. Oh, let's just stick them all in. Like, yeah. But the thing about it is, if you're going to do it, you must respect it, right? You must develop their characters, right? And get people to like their characters. But the problem is that that's not how it will be done. It'll be done superficially, like it was done during the previous era anyway. So this is why we give out. We don't give out because we're against inclusion. We're very much for inclusion. Doctor Who has always been the forefront of inclusion, especially if you look, the classic era does get some stick, but there was a lot of inclusion and diversity, whether it was behind the camera or in front of the camera. All of this rhetoric that just were all fed for the last few years, all this rubbish that Doctor Who wasn't inclusive, is a load of bullshit, right? The show wouldn't even be around if it wasn't for a woman, right? And here you are, we're all sexist and we hate women, but yeah, right? We all love Verity Lambert. That doesn't make any fucking sense. Verity Lambert, without Verity Lambert, we would not have Doctor Who, okay? So again, all of these fake, outraged arguments that they had don't actually even stand up. They did the same with Star Wars, and they did the same with Star Trek especially. The Star Trek apparently wasn't diverse. I don't know what show they were watching, but it was very diverse to me, on and off the camera. See, these guys don't actually do their research, right? Classic era had female directors and everything, man. Right? Female directors, female writers, right? In front of the camera, behind the camera, right? And as they would call them, LGBTQ plus representation, right? But Doctor Who wasn't diverse enough for them. And if you really want to look at it, you look at the RTD era, very diverse. Very diverse. Nobody was giving out about Noel Clarke being in Doctor Who. He was a black man. Nobody had a problem with him. Nobody had a problem with Frigga Angerman. Now, we have heard that she did suffer some racist abuse, which I never knew. And if that was the case, that was absolutely disgusting. But let's make it clear, right? And I know that the other side don't like us saying this, right? But it is a fact, right? It is a fact. It was a small minority of the fandom and not the whole fandom, right? The same with Pearl Mackie, right? Nobody was outraged about Pearl Mackie, even though Pearl Mackie's character, Bill Potts, told us every 2 minutes that she was lesbian. I consider Series 10 very underrated. And if people can ignore the fact that she is telling us that she's into women, it's actually a great era of Doctor Who. The writing is still there. Her character is still being developed. It's got all the things that were missing from the Chris Chibnall era, right? And that's what makes it better. And I think Series 10, and I defend Series 10, and I've told people Series 10 is an underrated gem. And I would really, really, really implore people that think that it's just a woke fest. Yes, there are certain episodes, there's certain lines in it and stuff like that. But when the Doctor punches that racist, for example, right, in Thin Ice, right, I wasn't going, oh, right. I was actually delighted that the Doctor punched that racist, right. I loved it, I have to say, right. So there's something, again, Moffat didn't do it for the sake of doing it. Bill Potts' character was developed, and in the time that they were in, that's how people acted around black people, unfortunately. So they showed that, and the Doctor showed how much of a friend he was to Bill Potts by punching out the racist. I thought that was actually quite funny. Series 9 is definitely a great series, Psychic Beats, but I do think that Series 10 is underrated. I really do. Moffat was inconsistent, but his 4th season with Matt Smith, great, and I think his last 2 seasons with Peter Capaldi were actually great as well. Why should Bill hide the fact she's into women if it comes up naturally? Yeah, it did. See, this is why I kind of don't have a problem with it, Jamie, because in some of the scenes it did come across as a natural thing, where especially where they're in the house and your man was trying it on with her. That was an obvious. So that would come up in that conversation. Listen, mate, I just need you to stop you there. I just need you to know that, like, you're wasting your time. I'm not into blokes. So scenes like that was understandable, right? That's why I don't have a problem with Series 10. I just think, I think with all the stuff that was going on in Hollywood at the time and all the other stuff, the whole woke thing agenda was being heightened. As you know, it was starting to become a lot more mainstream and stuff. So, maybe Series 10, that's what I say. I think Series 10 gets a harsh rep. I think people should go back and watch Series 10 again. But that's just my opinion. Of course, if you don't like Series 10, that's fair enough. But I actually think it's a little bit of a gem, I have to be honest. I prefer the fourth season of Peter Capaldi. Listen, I love Series 8. It gets to stick as well. I actually like all of Peter Capaldi's era. I've made that clear. I love Peter Capaldi's era. Series 8 is all over the... I will say, though, Series 8 has a lot more bad episodes, though. There are some really bad episodes in that series, but overall, I still pretty enjoyed it, I have to say. I like the Peter Capaldi era. Really do. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. We'll see what happens. But I'm excited. I mean, look, that's the difference. These fans will never understand the difference. We have never ever said that Doctor Who isn't political. Doctor Who has been political over its time, especially the classic era. But as I said, the context from these fans is always missing. The message or whatever they wanted to tell us about, whether it was got to do with greenhouse gases or any of that, right, was to include it and incorporate it within the story itself, but not hamper the actual characters either, and develop the characters well and create an exciting story to go with it. Chibs did none of that. Message became front and center, story became secondary, and all the actors and actresses that he had in it were propaganda chess pieces. The only job there was either for representation or gender politics or some other nonsense that RT or that Chris Chibnall wanted to flog because he thought that's what fans wanted. And it wasn't, because it started off with just over 12 million watching, nearly 13 million tuned in. And then by the time we got to the last episode, we had 2 million people tune in to the last, just a little over 2 million in the, I think it was live, and then in the consolidated something like 3 something. So we have lost over 9 million people at least, right? So 9 million people, right, thought Doctor Who was shit. And of course, it's still being spun. And by the way, I just one particular magazine out there. As you know, I won't mention the journalist because he's the crybaby, but I will mention the magazine. So Escapist magazine and the journalist who wrote the article about, remember the video that was taken down because they claimed I was plagiarizing that article. Remember, they said the article was Doctor Who was less woke than it was in the 80s. Well, the journalist for that magazine has decided just before Christmas to repost that article because they wanted to make a point that all the misogynists and the sexists came out when Millie Gibson and Shooty were revealed, or some mad nonsense it was, right? And he's trying to put out, right, saying it's the typical. He said it was the usual suspects, basically. So us, basically, is what he's trying to say, right? Now, I'm just going to say something again. That was probably a small minority of fans, but you want to ignore that. See, here's the problem I have with Escapist magazine. Instead of focusing on people, and by the way, may I just add that it is pathetic that you're still keeping up the same argument that you've had for the past 5 years, that it's these toxic white male fans or whatever fans you think is responsible, blah, 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 right? Now, here's the thing. You want to stay stuck in the past and you want to keep digging that crap up again. So here's a challenge for you, right? I dare Escapist magazine to actually do an article on the real problem in the Doctor Who fandom, which is the fans of the Jodie Whittaker era who did not respect other people's opinions, sent death threats, sent vile messages to their spouses, right? And all sorts of nonsense, right? Okay, why not actually expose the real culprits? One of them is actually a friend of the magazine who was also responsible for reporting me video to that said magazine. Why don't you do a newspaper article on him and all the other people out there that have bullied, harassed and threatened fans like us? No, you're not interested in that. What Escapist magazine is interested in, folks, is to regurgitate the same bollocks that they've regurgitated for the last 5 years by claiming that the Chris Chibnall era was less woke than the 80s. Did you hear what I just said there? That's what he's regurgitating. And then he adds on the header, right? Oh, the same misogynistic, sexist, blah, 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 right? So, again, I'll say to that journalist out straight, why don't you actually do an article on the real problem? If not, again, like I told you at the time, right? And this is why my video got removed, folks, because I said exactly this, right? Just because you're an actually unintelligent person and you wrote that article, which I'd be ashamed of, right? Okay? At the end of the day, you're talking out your backside, right? This era of Jodie Whittaker's, Chris Chibnall's was the most woke that we ever came across, right? And I called your article stupid at the time, and that was the real reason why you hit me, because I insulted your article. Your article is not even worth the paper it's printed on. I wouldn't even wipe me arse with the newspaper article because it's not even worth being used as shit paper. It's that bad, right? Now, if you're not actually going to do your job and actually report on the real problem in this fandom, I suggest you shut up. And that goes for every other magazine editor and journalist out there. If you have not got the balls to write what the real problem is in fandoms, then don't talk at all. Because the real problem isn't right-wing agenda pushing, whatever you want to call us people, right? The problem is the people on the left and these stands. They're the issue. They're the problem. They're the ones that have turned all of these fandoms toxic. None of us turned the fandom toxic. The Doctor Who fandom wasn't even toxic before they came along. But yeah, you try to then flip it and say, well, it's toxic because they came in and you didn't like it. No, we never had a problem with the influx of new fans in 2005. Where was the toxicity then? There was no toxicity. See, again, it's all smoke and mirrors and bullshit and lies, right? The real problem with the fandom is still out there, but you refuse to report on them. You'd rather go after me and other people out there because we didn't like Chris Chibnall and Jodie Whittaker. What a sad, pathetic career fucking job that these people, I wouldn't even, none of you don't even have the right to call yourselves journalists. Yous aren't journalists. Yous are propaganda mouthpieces for these studios, and you ought to be ashamed. Ought to be ashamed of yourselves. Regurgitating the same crap over and over. And this article, by the way, has been shared, I think, by this particular journalist 5 or 6 times. So why is he so desperate for people to read his shitty little article? The people that did read it, including myself, were laughing at every example that you gave, because every example that you gave was stupid. Even after my suspension was lifted off YouTube because I appealed it, I was going to actually read that article out again and give me your opinion on it. But as I said, the journalist is such a soy-boy crybaby that I couldn't read it out again. But I do implore you to go and find that article in Escapist magazine and give you their opinions on it. Because I do know that if you have anything negative to say about Escapist magazine, and by the way, might I point out that I've told that this magazine in particular has targeted a lot of fans and had a lot of fans taken down, by the way. The difference with me was I wasn't going to stand by and let these little muppets think that they could get the better of me because they didn't like what I said about the article, so I appealed it and I won. And you know what the funny thing about it was, while I was appealing the thing, him, the journalist in question, the editor of that magazine, and Mr. T Reviews were all gloating that they had taken the video down, right? And you should have seen the names that these people were calling me on Twitter and the lies that they were throwing out. And then, of course, when the inevitable happened and I won the appeal, as soon as I posted it up, I got basically a message to basically say, well, fuck you. Journalists now have decided that they'll riddle the articles with ads and videos. And by the way, this is why when I'd advise this to anybody out there that does read out articles, before you actually screen share your article, make sure you've already got the article up on a separate window, right? Go in then, while it's loading, all the videos and ads will come up and the sound will be on. Make sure that you turn the sound off. That's how they're getting people now on their YouTube channels. This is why I won't read out articles that much anymore. But if you do want a way around it, make sure you mute all the sound on the articles, because that's how they get you now. That's how they get you. They use third-party ads because they know that they will be limited. Your stream will either be limited or it will be demonetized because there's an ad on the page or it's showing the trailer. So make sure to always mute when you are reading your newspaper articles. That's a way of getting around it. Fuck you, journalists. I'm smarter than you. Always will be. Right? And that's the thing. Doctor Who fans, I'm not the only one. We can see through you on bullshit. We're a smart bunch, okay? We know when journalists are spinning and spinning and spinning, and you have spinned quite enough. I cannot believe that this journalist is still trying to flog that shitty article. As I said, if I was in the toilet having a poo, I wouldn't even use it to wipe my arse because not even worth the fucking paper it's printed on, right? I wouldn't insult my ass with that article, with rubbing me ass, right? Seriously, man. Big crybaby, always moaning as well, that journalist. That's all they are. Big bunch of crybabies, the whole lot of them. Not even journalists. Some YouTuber didn't like me article. So I'm going to put a false claim of plagiarism to have him taken down because he insulted me and said I wasn't intelligent. Yeah, well, if you write articles like that, well, you deserve to be ridiculed. Sorry. I still can't get over that article. But to kind of as I said, to repost that article and then use that article, right, as part of a strategy to attack fans now, even though we're into a new era, and it was Millie. See, this is what makes no sense about this. He wanted to complain about the people that were giving out about Millie and Shooty's casting by posting an article about bigots and sexists got to do with the Jodie Whittaker era. Do you see? This is why I'm calling it out. Because there's a blatant attempt of this journalist and maybe the people in that magazine to basically cause a pile-on, because that's what will happen. Right? And this has been going on too long. Oh, this journalist, I say, is probably in his 40s or 50s, Peter. I'd say, by looking at him, he's probably younger, but I'd say around 40s, early 40s. If he's in his 30s, God love him. But I'd say he's in his early 40s. So this is not a kid writing this article. You know, this is a grown-ass man writing this article. And he's looking for attention because the article's probably not gotten the traction that he was hoping it was going to get. But to kind of use that article to make a point about Millie and Shooty's Shooty people that don't like them, to use that article to make a point, even though it was written for the last era, right? It's just absolutely mind-boggling. This guy is so desperate for this article to catch on. It's unbelievable. Like, let it go. Nobody believes you. Everybody that has retweeted it actually is laughing. Is laughing that you even have that take. You're clearly not a Doctor Who fan, even though you claim to be a Doctor Who fan. I wouldn't say you are a Doctor Who fan. Anyway, we'll see what happens over the next couple of weeks and months. But listen, as I said, I won't be the only channel that will be calling out the media when they try this again. Because trust me, when Shooty is getting closer to being on screen, all of these news, all of these articles, all of these media outlets are going to start with their racism shy, right? So be prepared, folks, because, you know, if anybody even has anything negative to say, and as you know yourselves, I haven't had anything negative to say about Shooty, but if anybody out there does dare to be negative about Shooty, you know what the media is going to label them, even though if it's genuine criticism on his acting ability, right? They will label people racist, just like they labeled fans who were genuinely concerned about Jodie Whittaker's acting sexist and bigots, right? So the same thing is going to happen here, right? And they're already preparing themselves, right? And you can already see that some of these media outlets are not willing to change, and they're going to keep up with the propaganda, and Escapist magazines is one of them. So I would say, look, you can read Escapist magazine if you want to, but personally, I wouldn't. I don't even read that rag. I wouldn't. I don't think people should support it, because I do believe that they did, along with someone out there who had it in for me. They did rally together and organize to try take my channel down. So I don't think a media outlet like that should be supported, because if that's the kind of game that they play because they don't like what people say about their articles, well then I don't think they should be supported. But that's just a personal thing anyway, and that's why I don't support them. But I think we need to be holding these magazines to account and calling them out when they pull stunts like this, because this should not be tolerated. And I'll tell you why. We've seen all the grief that people have gotten in this fandom because of hit pieces like that by the media. And, you know, they listen to everything that the media say, and then they turn on people like me who dare to speak up and say that the previous era Doctor Who wasn't good and up to standard, right? The media are responsible for a lot of the stuff and the hate that's going on in this fandom, and they must be called out for it. Absolutely disgusting. That magazine won't even discuss the real problem in this fandom, which is the stands, the ones that have been sending death threats. How about Escapers magazine do an article on the people that attacked David Tennant and RTD? David Tennant was actually someone threatened David Tennant's life on Twitter. People have seen the screenshots. The screenshots are up there. But where's the article about that? People threatening David Tennant and RTD. No, they want to keep going on about people that had a problem with Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall. That's how pathetic they are. They won't even call out the people now that caused all the problem in the fandom in the first place. And they're the ones now that are attacking David Tennant and RTD. But where's the articles on those fans? There is none, folks. There is none. Because remember, they've got to keep the propaganda wheel going. It's all the not my doctors and all of this. It's their fault. It's their fault. It's their fault. They've lost all credibility. They've lost all credibility. And I'm done with the media, to be quite honest. Until they start calling these stands out, I'm done with the media. The media need to understand what damage that they've done, and they have facilitated and helped these fans in order to do what they've done to Doctor Who fans over the last 5 years. And as I said, you really are a pathetic little loser if you're actually not reporting on what's really going on in the fandom, and you want to bring old arguments up because you want to score some points, right? Absolutely ridiculous, right? Call out the people that sent the death threats to David Tennant and called out RTD and said some disgusting vile stuff at him, and call out the person that we called out as well, a YouTuber out there that that said some horrible, vile stuff about Millie Gibson and then went on a homophobic rant against RTD. But yeah, no article there highlighting that person and highlighting the stands. That's balance for you, because I'll get why is it balanced? Well, one is a right wing nut, right? And the ones that are going after RTD and David Tennant are left wing nuts. Right, so there's your fucking balance there, Escapist magazine. So why not get off these arses and actually get a decent journalist that actually do the research? We'll even provide screenshots. We will even send you screenshots of messages that were sent. Listen, you could do about 500 articles with all the bleeding fucking evidence that we have against all of these people. But yeah, not one of yous will come to us. Not one of yous will reach out. Not one journalist out there will say, okay, give us what you have and we'll see if this is worth writing an article about. But not even that. Not even that. But one of these little bitches moan about, you know, Jodie Whittaker not being a lesbian, and then you will do an article on how the fans and Doctor Who are a bunch of fucking homophobes and all of this other rubbish, right? Instead of focusing on the real issue in this fandom. And it's not people like me that are the issue in this fandom, right? I just have my opinions, right? I haven't said anything that's hate speech or anything like that. All I've given is my opinions. I think Jodie Whittaker is a crap actress and was miscast, and I think Chris Chibnall was a rubbish writer and should never have been anywhere near Doctor Who, right? That's not toxic. That's an opinion. And if you actually see that as toxic, well, then you're the problem, not me. And that's the problem with the media as well. They're all reporting anybody, right? If you have any comments to say about climate change that isn't with the established narrative, you're right wing, right? you're right wing, you're a right winger activist, right? If you say anything about gender politics, oh, you're a right wing activist, right? Everything is a right wing this and a right wing that. No, they're just called opinions. That's it. They're just opinions. But because you don't like them, you need to dehumanize those people. So that's where you come up with the terms bigot, right wing activists, and all of this other nonsense that you come out with, right? Because that's what it's all been about the last few years, dehumanizing people in fandoms and in society. And you know what? A lot of us wised up a long time ago. I hope the rest of the fandom wake up. But until the media start reporting, because you know why they won't? Because they're part of the problem. And until we actually have journalists out there that have the balls and have the guts to actually report on what's really going on in fandom and really going on in society, well, then we're going to still have the same issues. But by God, I am not going to sit back and stay silent when these journalists and magazines think they could do hit pieces on people that aren't even the problem. They aren't even the problem. We're not the problem. All we've ever wanted is their show to be respected, right? And because of that, we've been called all sorts of names. And yes, there are some fans out there that believe that the Doctor is male, right? That's not a toxic opinion. That's just an opinion, okay? That's all it is, and that's all it ever was, right? But it was made into something that it wasn't. And the supposed people that are on the right side of history that supported all of this are the ones that have been going around bullying and harassing. But that's the story you don't want to tell. Because if you expose it and you expose the cult, you're exposing yourself. And that's why these propaganda journalists, as we'll call them, right, are mouthpieces, right? That's why they'll never call it out. Because they're on board with the kids, you know? They want to show how hip they are. Well, that's me done. There's the force rant of fucking 2023 for you there anyway. But I'm just sick and tired of it. I thought that was disgusting. I really did. In the time where the fandom was trying to heal and stuff, some journalists out there decides that they'd rehash all the arguments, even though it got nothing to do with the argument that he was actually having, right? It was got to do with Shooty and Millie and people coming out of the woodwork. And we know there are a few. We've even called them out on this channel. You know, you shouldn't judge anybody until you actually watch them, right? And then you can judge. And there are people that are judging Shooty because of his skin color. We do know that. We've seen some racist stuff happen. So we're not denying that, right? But as I said, to use an article to try make an argument that had nothing got to do with the situation, but got to do with the previous era, to me is a low blow and is a shitty move by someone who's desperate to get that article out there and people to read that article. Right? The same journalists wouldn't have the guts to actually tell the real story about this fandom. So we've got to do it. And I'm not the only channel. You've got Dan's channel, Gobby Guy. You all know the usual suspects, Rabbi, all of those channels, Type 40, all doing their thing, all informing this fandom, calling out the bullshit as we see it. So, yeah. And remember, a lot of these journalists, I just want to point out, suppressed women's opinions in this fandom. Any woman that dared to come out and say that the Doctor was a male and they didn't want to be pandered to. Remember, a lot of those women were bullied offline and bullied off social media. Remember that, right? So when the very first articles came out and they were all saying that if people didn't get behind Jodie Whittaker's Doctor, they were sexist. Remember, The media started it all first. And then these stands pick up on it like they always do because they're a cult. And then they start going around repeating what the media were saying. And then you had accounts like Mr. T and all of them pushing that very same agenda, right? And then retweeting people like myself so they could actually do pylons, right? So that's what we're up against. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Bobby. The article was done in January 2021, and he's still posting it 2 years later. And he's posted it a few times on his account. That's what I'm trying to tell you. This is a pathetic attempt by a journalist because the article didn't get the traction that they wanted, right? And used it for an argument that had no business of being part of that argument because it was totally different kettle of fish altogether, right? So that's the point. That's why I'm calling them out, right? I'm not afraid to call them out, right? I've never been. I've mentioned them actually a couple. I'm not afraid to call them out. They think they can bully and intimidate me into silence. They won't. I'm just telling the truth. You've all seen it for yourselves. Anybody that's on Twitter, I've seen that he's posted the article several times. It was a pathetic attempt by a journalist to keep this old argument up that the same people that didn't like Jodie Whittaker, right, the sexists, are now racists, apparently. It's a small minority in the fandom, right, that have attacked Shooty, right? When it comes to Jodie Whittaker, that is slightly different, and I will say it is slightly different. She was the first female doctor, and whether the journalists from Escapist magazine and all of these other media outlets like her or not, she was always going to be more scrutinized than her male counterparts because she was the first female doctor, right? But because she was the first female doctor, you media outlets decided, well, you needed to put a ring fence of protection around her. And that's why you did hit piece after hit piece against the fandom, right? You think we don't know what you did. I am one of the most intelligent people on this platform, right, in the Doctor Who community. And that's not a brag, right? I've predicted a lot of things in this fandom. I'm not the only one. There are a lot of us that run the YouTube channels on the Doctor Who side of things, the ones that you all follow. We're all intelligent people, right? We didn't fall off the stupid tree, okay? We were all educated properly. We were brought up properly. We were raised properly by our parents, right? We understand society. We lived long enough and we're old and bold enough to know what's going on, okay? So you can't fool us, and you can't fool the majority of Doctor Who fans either, right? Because they proved that Doctor Who fans are not going to tolerate that rubbish. They walked away. Yeah, I'll tell you one thing, right? Yeah, the Star Wars fan gave a good fight of it and stuff like that. But I feel even we've gotten more of a victory than the Star Wars fans because it looks like we could actually get our show back. Whereas Star Wars keeps going down the abyss and it's going to end up, well, it already is a shadow of itself. But you know what I mean? I think the media, especially within the Doctor Who fan, I think they've underestimated the Doctor Who fandom. They've underestimated the Doctor Who fandom because whereas in other fandoms, they demoralize them. And yes, the Doctor Who fans, we have been demoralized over the last 5 years. We're not going to lie. But we've always brushed ourselves down and we've kept going and we kept fighting and we kept pushing back against these journalists that were trying to create this toxic environment. Remember, as I said, right, the media started all of this off and the environment in the Doctor Who fandom became toxic after all those articles start dropping, because then the stands got a hold of them and they thought, well, yeah, the Doctor Who fans are sexist bigots and all of this other stuff. So remember and never forget the part the media played in all of this. And you know what? Not one of them are sorry for what they did. because they believe they're on the right side of history. Nobody knows if they're on the right side of history. But the fact that they think they're on the right side of history is very worrying. Because nobody should think that they're on the right side of history, in fairness. Because nobody knows what the future holds. But the fact that they're so adamant that they're on the right side of history is actually fucking scary. And we've seen it. We've seen the mentality of people out there. I've seen things even this week. We're only 10 days into 2023, and I can tell you that 2023, when it comes to people and videos that they're posting, right, about all of these different genders and identities and stuff, I'll tell you, 2023 is going to be a definitive year. It's going to be the defining year. It's either this is the year where the pushback is gonna fully take hold, and there's going to be a pushback against this, or they're going to double and triple down, and it's going to be as worse as it was in 2022. And then once that happens, that's it. Society is the downfall. Well, I already believe society has already fallen, but for people out there, they don't believe it has yet, but it's on the verge. But I think for a lot of people, if they do double and triple down, it's the end of society as we know it. I already believe we've gotten to that point, but that's just me. But it's sad. It's sad because, you know, the way I am in life is live and let live, right? And if you're a grown-ass adult and you want to do things to your body and you want to identify as someone else, you can go ahead. As I said, my issue has always been around children. And I think that's a discussion that should be had. But the activists don't want to have that discussion. And anybody that even questions it is labelled a transphobe, which I think is actually quite sad. You know, how you get understanding and education, right? And this applies for both sides, is to listen to each other. But one side's trying to ram one thing down their throat, and the other side's trying to ram down their agenda down their throat, rather than all sitting down and having a discussion. But there are no discussions allowed. It was the same when Jodie Whittaker became the first female doctor. I was told by Ben Cook, who was working for Doctor Who magazine at the time, when I brought this up, he said, there is no time for discussion. The debates are over. And I was like, but there were no debates. There were no discussions. But we weren't allowed talk. So, of course, because I did and I stood up to these people, you know, it was him and Crystal D that kind of gave me a bad name in this fandom, because I dared to speak up against their crap. And they worked in the media at the time, remember that. So the media are responsible quite a lot, and they facilitated these fans. So yeah, we won't be putting up with that now. It's not going to continue to happen, right? We've had 5 years of it. We're not having another 5 years of it. And if I see anything like that again, I'll be calling it out. It's as simple as that. I'm done with the media now. Anyway, we will leave it there. I think I've had enough of a rant now to keep us going. So it's Tuesday. So we will be back. We'll be back. There'll probably be more stuff tomorrow. There might be other stuff that we can look into deeper. There's a couple of articles there as well. I might have a look at them. So if I don't pop on tomorrow, I'll be on Thursday. We'll be definitely back on Friday. The Three Amigos hopefully will be back. It'll definitely be going ahead anyway. But myself, Lee, and Chris will be here for Friday Night Contact. That's 9 p.m. UK time. So if you want to join us for that, hopefully the three of us will be there. It'll be going ahead regardless. It was just the three of us were actually unwell last week, and that's why we couldn't. But I'm actually ready to go. I'm fighting fit, and I'm pretty sure Lee is fine. And we haven't heard from Chris now in a couple of days, but I'm pretty sure he'll let us know before the stream if he's going to make it or not. But we will be here for Friday night contact. So come and join us. Peter has just said that it was a fab stream. No, thank you. I really do appreciate that. Yeah, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, folks. And thank you to all the new people, as I said, that have subscribed to the channel over the last couple of weeks. I don't know what's happened, but people seem to be subscribing to me again, which is great. So thank you. That's just a little dig at all me haters out there, because apparently after the Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall era ended, the Tardis zone would die because, you know, Noel would have nothing to talk about. But like, they actually think that's all I did on the Tardis zone. No. We actually spoke. We actually did classic and new Who watch-alongs, but you chose to not let anybody know that I did stuff like that, because you have to keep up the old, oh, Noel's just a hater propaganda. But we did watch-alongs. We did movie streams as well. We do a lot. We have panels on a regular basis as well. And as I said, you know, when the series comes back, 60th anniversary, we will have our review panels live that night. We'll have so the new thing this year will be, because I was doing a Jordan at the end of the Jodie Whittaker era, but as you know yourselves, on the night of the first episode, it'll be me live, a live watch along while I'm watching the episode. So you will get a live reaction. I'll be on camera as well, so you can see me live reaction, because people prefer if your face is up when you're doing a live reaction. So I'll be doing a live reaction, and then straight after the episode, then we will have the Tardis Zone panel, and we will have people on, obviously, and we will be talking and discussing the latest episode of Doctor Who, and then we will give we'll give our opinions, and then we'll give our rating for that episode. So that's all to come. So come and join me for them as well. And if you want to be part of the panel, I want to kind of shake it up this year. So if you want to be part of the panels for the 60th and anniversary, and you would like to come on after you've watched the episode, let me know. Just let me know if you're interested anyway. You have months anyway, but just let me know if it's something that you are interested in, because I would like to bring on some new people along with the regulars that we do have on. So if there's any people out there that haven't been on in a while, or haven't been on, it's been, as I said, it has been a while, you're more than welcome to come on. Just let me know. The more voices we have, the better, in our opinion, because not everybody agrees on the panels. That's the one thing we will say. We don't always agree, which is what I like, because, you know, it'd be a pretty boring panel if we were all agreeing, but we don't always agree, which is the beauty of that panel and the beauty of this channel, I think. And it's the same on Dan's channel as well. You know, he has people on his channel that don't always agree, and I think that's a good thing. I think it's a good thing. You need that balance. So if there are any people out there that would like to come on for the 60th anniversaries, let me know. And then obviously, then if you are interested when we get closer to Series 14, but I'll ask that when we get closer to Series 14, and then we'll do the same again. But listen, it's been lovely catching up with you all. I know it's been a couple of days since we've done a stream, but again, I know it's only 10 days into the new year, but I just want to thank you all for the continued support. It's actually amazing. You are still here with me. I don't know why, to be quite honest with you, but you know, obviously I'm not bored in you, that must be something, but good. But I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, I'm just so grateful, and I know Cheryl is as well, for you supporting the channel, supporting me, Cheryl and Ted, because, you know, we haven't had it easy. You have been there for us throughout these last 5 years, and we really do appreciate it. So thank you again for tuning in, and I will talk to you really soon. Yeah, as I said, now I'm off to post that disgusting screenshot that we got at the start of the stream, because that has to be highlighted. But I would just say to people out there and to these journalists, try be better this time round. Fans are going to have criticisms. It happens with every era of Doctor Who. Not every criticism is toxic. If you can understand that and be a little bit more understanding that fans will actually have different opinions and we're not all a bunch of sheep and drones, then we might actually get somewhere. But I'm not going to forgive the media for their part of what they played on everything that was sent my way, because I do honestly believe if those articles had never been written, the fandom wouldn't be in the state that it's in right now. So shame on you, media. And as I said, try to do better this year. But by the looks of things, you are just going to be as bad as you were in 2022. But however, we'll leave it there. See you, folks. Have a good one. And I'll talk to you during the week. And stay safe, yeah? And it's a bit nippy out there, so wrap yourselves up warm, and we'll talk soon. Have a good one, folks. Good night.
Thank you.